Hello, everybody, and welcome into Bad for Baseball, the baddest baseball podcast on the internet. I'm your host, Nicholas Blaylock, joined alongside by Adam Peddle. We are in the divisional round right now, folks, and let me tell you, there is some electric baseball being played. What is going on right now between the San Diego Padres and the Los Angeles Dodgers? There's some special stuff happening right there, as well as the New York Mets. Holy crap, everything that team does is electric, and that's not even talking about what's happened in Detroit. The Houston Astros getting knocked off, getting swept by those Detroit Tigers. Then obviously the New York Yankees are just doing what they do best. So we're going to be talking about all of these teams, all of these matchups. But first things first, we recently came out with a podcast, and this is not news. You know what I mean? Like, we were talking about this. This is a conversation that's been happening a lot about those LA Dodgers. But we were talking about how the pitching staff on the Los Angeles Dodgers, it could be a big problem walking into the postseason. You do not have Tyler Glasnow. You do not have Clayton Kershaw. You do not have Gavin Stone. You have Yoshinobu Yamamoto, who is, effectively still a rookie. And in fact, why am I even qualifying that? He is a rookie in MLB.
But effectively because it's like he's played in big games before in the past.
Yes, exactly, right? Like, he's been around the block, but still a rookie in MLB. That is your game one starter in the divisional series. Did win that game, by the way, but, we'll break it all down in a second.
Not because of him.
Exactly. Jack Flaherty, who is still very good at baseball. I do believe in Jack Flaherty. But then you got Knack, who is a rookie. He's going to be in the mix for these guys.
Walker Buehler.
And the corpse of Walker Buehler.
What happened to Walker Buehler? LA fans, let us know. I have no idea what the hell happened to Walker Buehler.
No.
It's a mystery.
It really is, dude. I mean, like, the cliff has been massive, and the fall off has just been crazy. But we were obviously discussing how this could be a big problem, and LA fans were coming and they were commenting and they're saying, guys, come on. We won the most fucking games in baseball this year, which is very fair, 98 games. However, two games in, both of your best starters gone now, Yoshinobu Yamamoto and Jack Flaherty. 15 runs given up between those two games. Talk to me right now about how you're feeling about these LA Dodgers, and specifically this pitching staff.
Well, I said this before. If you don't get two wins with those two guys, Yamamoto and Flaherty, you're in a lot of trouble. It's only a 5-game series, and you have a pitching staff of 4 guys, and then you're going to turn it back around to Yamamoto, who in his first game gave up 5 earned runs over 3 innings of pitching work, and apparently he's been tipping his pitches, so that's not a good sign. You have one start to go and figure out how the Padres are getting you figured out on what pitches are coming your way.
Yeah. That's
not a good sign. And Flaherty is effectively done because, again, like, unless they do some sort of thing where they try to, like, piggyback Yamamoto, Flaherty off of Yamamoto, he's pretty much done, and he didn't have a good outing either. He did a little bit better than Yamamoto. 5 1/3 innings pitched, 4 earned runs, but yeah, you only got one win out of that, and now you're going to have Walker Buehler, and you're going to have Knack come up against a deep Padres rotation. This is why I've been all on the Padres for this series, because of how deep their rotation is. Not only their rotation, but their bullpen as well. So for me, if I'm a Dodger fan, I'm very, very worried right now.
Yeah, no, of course, man. And speaking of that bullpen, like, this is something that really worries me. They do have an off day today at the time of recording this video. We're recording it Monday morning, so the NL gets a bit of an off day, which is really important because those LA Dodgers were burning through their bullpen. Three innings is what Yamamoto went through in Game 1, giving up 5 earned runs. Now, again, the fact that they managed to come back and win that game, that is nothing short of incredibly impressive. And, of course
Shohei Ohtani.
Yes. We are obviously, taking the negative side of things, but credit where credit is due. Like, you guys fucking rallied, and that was very impressive. But in doing so, you had to burn a ton of your bullpen guys. 6 pitchers went for you that day. That does include Yamamoto, but then 6 more pitchers went for you the following day. That is 12 different guys that have thrown the baseball for the LA Dodgers in 18 innings. In my opinion, like, again, maybe you do find a way to make it through this series, but this is not a winning formula for the World Series. No, I don't think.
I'm kind of shocked too that they traded away Ryan Yarbrough out of their bullpen when they were looking for innings.
Yeah,
and they got Kevin Kiermaier, and it just felt like a really silly trade. Yeah, you need outfield help, but we're really willing to give up more pitching depth That for me felt silly because you could have used a Ryan Yarbrough in game 1 to save you some bullpen help. And yeah, I mean, clearly you didn't get the support in game 2, and you got blown out with that one, 10-2. Yeah, it's really puzzling for me why they would do something like that.
Well,
because you're seeing how it's biting you in the ass now.
I will say I don't remember all of his statistics, but I do think that he was significantly better with Toronto.
Yeah, he had like a 4.5
LA.
ERA, but it doesn't even matter. It's like now your bullpen guys.
That's true.
It's just give me innings.
Yeah.
Right? Give me innings, especially when you're getting blown out and you just got to save some guys for another day. But again, off day today, so maybe they were unloading the bullpen. But this is seriously like a huge problem. And LA could have been so much better if they went out and they got a little bit more at the deadline. Obviously, it was a very tough deadline to begin with not a lot of guys moving around, especially pitching, and a lot of good quality arms. They did get Jack Flaherty, which I don't know where they'd be without Jack Flaherty right now. They'd be in a hole without Jack Flaherty. So for me, the Dodgers are just at a disadvantage right now. Yes, you got Ohtani. Yes, you got Freeman. Yes, you got Muncy. And I guess you got Mookie Betts, who's 0 for 22 in his last 22 games.
Well,
at-bats.
let's talk a little bit about that, right? Because the way that they win this series, is by doing what they did in the regular season, and it's outslugging everyone. Like, you gotta outslug the opposition. We said this walking in to the playoffs in the last 30 days, the LA Dodgers have the best offense by far. And again, that is something that needs to be noted. I know we're being hard on the pitching. We're being fucking critical
we should
of these guys right now. But the way that you win this is you keep mashing. 2 runs is not mashing, right? And you see what happens when Shohei Ohtani is not Ohtaniing it up, every other at bat, right? He went over. Yesterday, and like that is a massive part of your offense. And then yes, Mookie Betts, last 22 postseason at bats, he is over. And I mean, I saw some comments online. I think that this is a very unfair thing to say about Mookie Betts because we have seen this guy win a World Series before, been dominant in the postseason before, but, clearly some triggered LA fans were like, he's the Clayton Kershaw of the hitting lineup.
Right.
Which is not true and not fair, and what they're referencing is that Clayton Kershaw has been
bad in the postseason.
Yeah.
Awful.
I think that Mookie Betts is just going through a rough stretch, but this is not the time. It just isn't, because when you look at the guys that you have to trot out, and when you consider that batting behind you is a heavily medicated,
Freddie Freeman,
injured Freddie Freeman,
dude,
like you got to put up Mookie.
I know this is not the right time for Freddie Freeman to be hurt right now. I mean, credit to Freddie for stealing second. With a sprained ankle. Like, honestly, I didn't know this guy even stole bases, and then he decides to do it
I
medicated.
don't think he does.
Yeah, I know.
Thing. Yeah.
No, I'm just picturing him, like, absolutely, like, high out of his mind, like, I think I'm going to do it.
Right.
But anyways, like, yeah, it's you're going to have guys put up, and again, that's asking a lot when you have such a tough pitching staff that you got to face in San Diego Padres. So, for me, everything is pointing towards a series loss for these Dodgers.
No,
Padres going to the NLCS.
I get that for sure, right? And of course, now you had those couple games in LA. We're going to be moving over. It's like you're going to have that home field advantage for San Diego. Now, speaking of San Diego, credit needs to be given to a couple key players over there, right? For me, what Jackson Merrill has been capable of doing is, it really is mind-blowing. I've been on the train of Paul Skeens should be Rookie of the Year, and I'm still on that train because I just think that, like,
he was almost Cy Young.
He was almost Cy Young, right? And how dominant he was on the mound is it needs to be, like, credited. But all of that being said, like, Jackson Merrill right now is playing out of his skin. Yesterday in that 10-2 win over LA, the guy goes 3 for 5. He had a home run in there, 3 RBIs, 2 runs scored. Like, the moment, this is a fucking 21-year-old.
Yeah, I know.
Right? And you're up against, again, yes, I know it's not great pitching, but it's the LA Dodgers in LA, and you are coming up and delivering at 21.
And even to compliment him even more, even the first game when they lost, he went 0 for 2, but with 2 walks. So the moment's not too big. I go take my walks. I'm in the middle of the lineup.
We're patient.
I'm patient. I'm going to pass the baton to the guy behind me who is Xander Bogaerts. And Drake Cronenworth, who I know I'm better than.
Yes.
But I'm gonna let them do the work, and it just goes to show the poise of this guy. So yeah, big shout out to Jackson Merrill. I've been loving watching it. I can't wait to watch some more Jackson Merrill in the postseason.
No, I mean he is going to be such a special player. He already is a special player for the San Diego Padres. I mean, like, this is the type of shit that, again, like, there's a long way to go here. But it's stat lines like this early in the postseason that, you know, people are going to start looking at you for, you know, postseason MVP type stuff later down the line. If you keep performing the way that you're performing, obviously there's a lot of work that needs to be done here. You got to win a lot more baseball games, but keep doing it, kid, because it is fucking exciting.
It is. And, you know, there's so much going on in this series. Like, obviously got these awesome stats, you know, from Merrill he's putting up, and, like, obviously all these big-time home runs from Ohtani. But, like, you also got the drama in here, and you know how much we love the drama talk on Bad for Baseball. But that game, too, started to get very heated with not only the players, but the fans as well.
They're getting chippy out there.
They are.
They're getting chippy.
And I've been seeing comments, and again, like, I'm not close to Dodger fans at all because we're over here in the AL, and we don't face you guys, and I'm a rivalry, but I'm seeing comments all over the internet of, like, oh, these Dodger fans need to, you know, get their class act together because apparently they threw a baseball, and they did. There's videotape of it. They threw a baseball at Jerks and Profar in the outfield. Didn't hit him, but they threw a ball at him. Now, this was after some tensions were getting heated up. You had the pitcher, Jack Flaherty, starting the game, and he hit Fernando Tatis Jr., his teammate, Manny Machado, did not like that, was chirping at Jack Flaherty. He struck out Manny Machado, and he started chirping at him again. Apparently, and this is apparently from the words of Flaherty, apparently that he was throwing balls into the dugout of the LA Dodgers, and everybody kind of catches the tail end of it, which means I'm going at it. So
sorry, Manny Machado
throwing balls into the dugout of the LA Dodgers. However, this is what Manny Machado said. I throw balls into the dugout all the time. Both dugouts. They've had bad balls. You throw balls back there, as Machado explained, which is actually true. Like, if you have a bad ball, you toss it into the dugout. There's a bat boy that gets it, or whoever the ball boy is at that day. But apparently, Jack Flaherty took exception. Maybe there's a little bit more intent behind it.
That's the thing, right?
You know?
I mean, like, if there's a little bit of gas behind it, or, you know, it just feels a little too close to my face or something, maybe you could take exception to that. Again, we don't know. I'm not sure where he was throwing these balls, but like, I think it just goes to show the adrenaline that's happening right now in this series. You know, you speak about Profar, and okay, one, I'll tell you right now, it is bad for baseball to be fucking throwing shit at players.
Don't do that.
You know, I don't want to target LA fans because, like, you know, okay, you're the latest of a long list of fan bases to do this, but you know, every fan base,
Blue Jay fans did it.
We have done it before. I'm not proud. I don't want to own that. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
But like, let's stop doing it, guys. Like,
come on,
don't.
Man.
You know, it isn't. It is like they're in their moment. They're in their bag. They're doing it. Granted, Profar, I mean, I think he knew what he was doing a little bit when he robbed that home run and then kept it secret for a while. If you guys haven't seen this highlight, then you have to go take a look at it. Just look it up on Twitter or something like that. Jerks and Profar. Did you remember? Was it? I think it was.
I actually haven't seen the clip. I haven't seen it.
It's insane, man. Like it literally looks like he fully hid the thing completely. Robs the home run. Nobody knows where the ball is. Jerks and Profar takes 10 to 15 seconds to even show that he has it.
Yeah.
And he was staring down the fans type thing.
Right.
Walking backwards with it in his glove.
Was this the same play? I don't know if you saw this, where he handed the ball to a Dodger fan afterwards, and then a Dodger fan then threw it on the field.
So I don't think so, because from what I saw, he was he was walking backwards with the ball for quite a while actually. So I don't believe so. Jerks Profar is having some moments out there in the outfield action with these fans.
He's gonna get paid. He's excited. He's playing meaningful baseball.
He is, and he's playing good baseball too, right? But again, this whole drama between Profar and the outfield people. Now you're going to San Diego, and listen, I'm speaking to San Diego fans right now. Keep it classy. That's how you win this battle, right? You're gonna have the intent or the thought, the intention to throw some shit at the outfielders and the LA Dodgers. You're gonna want that. When you're a couple years in and maybe things aren't going your way, you're gonna feel like you should do that too. Don't. Because that's how you win this battle between
the Dodger fans were down horrendously in Game 2, and they were getting rowdy, throwing stuff at it. And this is nothing against Padre fans, but this is more against drunk baseball fans in general. I think there's gonna be some rowdiness. I think in Game 3 because you're gonna see all that and go, well, I'm gonna go and I'm gonna do something.
Yeah, I know. Like I'm telling them to be the better. Who do I think I am?
Yeah,
right
no,
now? They're gonna be
listen,
drunk in the postseason environment. Yeah, exactly. Yeah. It's gonna be none of
Listen,
that happening.
we're not in the ALDS. They are. If I was in the ALDS, maybe I'd say something different.
It might
be
a little different, right? But yeah. Either way, everybody. Just to kind of conclude this conversation right now, LA. I like a lot of what you guys have built here. I think your lineup is the best lineup in baseball. But when you only put up 2 runs, you are not going to be winning because you don't have the pitching to support that type of play. I am concerned about the future of this postseason for you guys right now. You're going to need some big performances from Walker. Walker Buehler's going to have to get vintage for a second. Landon Knack's going to have to. I want to say get vintage because he's never been vintage.
He's a baby.
But like he's just going to need to get in his bag. And the bullpen's going to have to be there as well, man, because it's not looking good.
And it's going to be a tough Game 3 tomorrow because, yes, you got Walker Buehler going up for the Dodgers and then Michael King, who we were live in the wild card game for Michael King. Who was the opponent again? It was the Braves.
Diamondbacks.
Oh, they were in and out just like that.
Yeah, it was actually insane, man. The sweeper of Michael King. Like, if you're an LA Dodgers fan listening to this right now, and I don't know, you're not super familiar with Michael King's game because I wasn't until I watched that game. The sweeper was crazy. Like, we're talking about making some of the best hitters, like Marcell Ozuna, who's had an incredible season, like really, really good. Like, it made him look foolish.
Yeah, I mean, I would even say it's the sinker combo with the sweeper makes the sweeper even more effective because there was pitches that just started on the outside part of the plate. That sweeper would just dart so horizontally, but because it's the same angle, the same plane as the sinker, you think it's coming back in. You're committed now, and you're way out in front because it's the sinker. And you're screwed. Yeah. And it was just beautiful.
And you end up with these highlight level strikeouts where the ball is, 2.5 feet from the batter's box.
Just flailing with one arm,
and it really did make people look stupid. So for me, like that matchup right there, like I just can't be betting against Michael King, even though that this lineup is the way that it is. If the LA Dodgers are going to win this thing, they need a couple key performances, and they're going to need Ohtani to keep Ohtaniing because if he goes over, I promise you, that's game.
Not winning. Yeah, you're really going to rely on Freddie Freeman and Clayton Kershaw, Mookie Betts.
Yeah, apparently.
No, you need Ohtani to Ohtani, right?
Ohtani's got to keep Ohtaniing, everybody. That's what's going on right now with those LA Dodgers. You listen to the comments down below. Who do you have? 1-1 is the series, so even though they did give up 15 runs over 2 games, they did manage to take one. So it is all level. Walking in to San Diego. Very excited to watch that one. Maybe we'll go live for one of those games before this series is all said and done. Let's transition and talk about just something completely ridiculous. Milwaukee Brewers, they're out. They're done. New York Mets said, we are not finished here, and they cooked the Milwaukee Brewers. One of the storylines, though, that is a little bit older now, but we just got to bring it up because, again, love the drama here at Bad for Baseball. Willy Adames and Jesse Winker, they had a little spat going on. They had a little something. We talked about the Game 1 thing. There were some words exchanged with Jesse Winker. Like, he made it over to third base. There were some words exchanged, whatnot. Okay. Well, people always say, I'm going to meet you outside. Or I'm gonna
meet me in the parking lot.
Yeah, meet me in the parking lot.
Yeah.
People always say that shit, right? And it's a heat of moment, blah blah blah. And then you walk back to the dugout, or if you're in wherever you are, right? You just you kind of ground yourself and you go, okay, well, I'm actually not going to do that. Willy Adames did.
He was never on the ground.
Yeah.
Yeah, he was still in fight land.
He went out to the parking lot, so he was red hot, and he stayed red hot.
But guess who calmed down? It was Jesse Winker. He never showed up to meet Willy Adames in the parking lot. I don't know. Did they actually talk about it? Hey, let's meet in the parking lot, and they're like little beef? They must have.
Well, so here's the thing.
Because he was waiting for him.
Willy Adames, he straight up told the media that I was there in the lot, and then adding that Winker never showed up. So I'm guessing that
they must.
It's one of those things where like in the heat of the moment where you're going back and forth with one another, whether it be Willy Adames or Jesse Winker, one of them's like, meet me after the game in the parking lot. Meet me, whatever.
It's a pretty big parking lot. I mean, where are they?
That's true. How do you know?
How do you know where in the parking lot to meet?
And also, like,
maybe by B12. You know, like
maybe Winker was over there by like D13.
Yeah, like
and
where
they
the
just
fuck
never,
is Willie?
Yeah, you know, like, we don't know.
We didn't coordinate this during our heated moment.
Yeah.
You know, where do you want to be at the parking lot? Okay, well, I'm parked on
Over by the red sedan.
Yeah, red sedan. But
L7C, that's my license plate.
Okay, wait a second. Let me write it down. You know?
Yeah, of course that's going to happen. But who knows? Maybe Jesse was there. But either way, Jesse right now is in the postseason still. Willie, you are not. Low blow right there to the Milwaukee Brewers fans. But
yeah.
I mean, I feel a couple different ways about this. One, I'm kind of just curious as to what would have actually happened had Winker gone to the parking lot.
Yeah, like
were you guys were you actually gonna like
fight because you're
throw
getting
down?
suspended?
That's the thing.
You're getting suspended.
Both of you are not playing in the subsequent games.
Or like, because it feels weird. Like, are you actually gonna like? Okay, man. Like, so let's talk about this.
Yeah,
you know?
yeah. Like if we're going to the
Are we
parking
actually
lot,
talking
like
about it?
we're fucking throwing down.
Yeah, exactly.
Like if I'm not coming to the parking lot to like counsel this out with you, or something, like no, like we are gonna be going after each other. It just sounds ridiculous to me. All things considered, like sounds very I don't know, high school-esque or whatnot from Willie Thomas there. But.
Yeah, it is kind of weird. I mean, obviously this goes way, way back with them too. I mean, even when Winker was with the Brewers, like I want to know, and if Brewer fans are in the chat, or even Mets fans, or even National fans, whoever is familiar with this situation with Jesse Winker, Willie Thomas, let us know because what happened with them? Because it was Christian Yelich who got hit. And then, and all of a sudden now Jesse Winker is involved in this, spew with, Willie Adames way back earlier this season. So, was there something going on with everyone? I don't know what was going on.
This is definitely one of those things that is, years in the making, you know? It goes back to a point where, clearly these guys, they were teammates and just could never meet eye to eye. And I don't know, maybe, the tensions just kept going and snowballing and whatnot. And now, they've hated each other so much that it's carried over to this.
Literally, yeah. I mean, Jesse Winker was a Red, so it's same division as the Brewers. So there's obviously he's very familiar with that clubhouse. I want to know because like Jesse Winker just must have beef with or they got beef with.
I think it's just Willie Adames and Jesse Winker, because it wasn't Christian Yelich meeting them in the parking lot. It was Willie Adames out there. So clearly those two boys right there. I don't know. They're not good friends. It must go way back there. But either way, Jesse, where were you? Willie was waiting.
He was waiting for you, bro. But Jesse Winker ain't waiting for you no more because he's over there in the NLDS facing off against those Phillies. And I just wanted to say this, man. This has got to be the most fun baseball I think I've seen and watched in a long, long time. That Game 2 of Phillies and Mets, when you had Nick Castellanos tied up, then you had Mark Vientos hitting 2 homers, one being a game-tying homer, and then the Phillies come back and win it all. That has got to be some electrifying baseball. And I said this in a little prediction short, that the Mets are the most entertaining team in all of baseball right now with all their memes and their huge comebacks and the roller coaster of a season. This is a lot of fun to see. I did predict the Phillies are still going to go out and win it just because of how much of a dog that entire team is. They've got that winning mentality. But I could see a reality where the Mets can just will themselves to victory.
No, I get it, man. There's something special going on there in New York, and there is just, magic happening right now. I mean, I think that whichever team emerges out of this, whether it be the Phillies or the Mets, I don't know. I'm probably gonna have to pick them against the winner of LA or San Diego because I just think that it's these guys are on to something right now. But ultimately, that it's fun to watch, from an outside standpoint. Secretly, I think I want the Phillies to win, but I don't care enough to really for it to really matter to me. So on an outsider looking in, when the lead is changing 4 to 5 times a game and it's just back and forth like that, you are on the edge of your seat until the 9th inning final pitch type thing, because at any given moment the game is not over between these two teams. These offenses are live, the pitchers, they're good, but clearly not good enough because these guys just keep hitting off of them. It's just fucking fun, man. It's really fun.
Literally Severino's just I just missed my location. When talking about the homer to Castellanos or Harper's 2-run homer. Even Harper showed up in a big spot too.
Well, actually, speaking of Bryce Harper, man, I got something here from John Boy Talking Baseball. While Mookie Betts has been struggling crazily, Bryce Harper is this guy is a dog in the postseason, man. Future Hall of Famer and Captain Clutch over here. Bryce Harper is batting .327 with 12 home runs and a 1.175 OPS in 32 postseason games with the Phillies. So when the Phillies are in the postseason, their best player and their leader leads by example.
Is the best player.
And is the best player on the field. So yeah, Bryce Harper, I'm buying in, man. Like I really do believe that the Phillies are going to go all the way, because I think that this guy and the rest of that team, they're just not going to let themselves. They're not going to let what happened to them a couple years ago happen again.
What I
really think so.
What I love about the Phillies is they're like such a veteran, experienced lineup, and they're threatening and they're scary and they're all in their primes. And they finally got really great pitching this year.
Yeah.
They've had good pitching in the past, but like this year, exceptionally
it's like,
good.
It's a tier above,
peaking,
you know?
right? So like this is the year for them to go out and get it. And that's why like no matter who is standing in front of them, I'm predicting the Phillies to win.
Yeah,
right?
I think that this is like their storybook finish, you know? Like you look, and I've said this before, and I do believe it, like there's just some guys that you look back at their careers and you go, okay, like that guy had a ring. Harper's one of them. Real Muto's one of them. Wheeler, I mean, like there's so many players on that team where you go, when it's all said and done, I would like to see the World Series 2024 next year baseball reference, you know, and just know that it's like, hey, you did it, you know. Like there was one season where it all came together. I really do believe this is that year.
This is that year, guys. So I'm low key rooting on the Phillies, and but I'm also low key rooting on the Mets. It's a fun series, regardless. Just a fun, entertaining.
That's the thing.
one.
I'm actually not upset with whoever walks out of this. You know?
Yeah, like I've got my biases towards both, so like just go have some entertaining baseball games, and we'll all watch.
Exactly.
You know?
Keep playing, guys. You are just must-watch TV right now. Houston Astros used to be that way. They used to be must-watch TV and just, you know, dominant whenever October rolled around. This year was not that year, though. 2 games, 2 losses. Detroit said no, and it's kind of sparked the whole conversation of, is this the end of the Houston Astros dynasty? And listen, I know you're laughing because
I'm laughing because it's one season where they don't make the ALCS in 7 years. That's why it's funny.
Yeah. And this has also been, you know, like I feel like every season everyone's like, well, is that the last time?
Yeah.
And I think it's partially because we all want it to be the last time.
Right.
This is no disrespect to Houston fans, but fuck, give me something different.
Right.
You know what I mean? Like it's one of those.
This was different.
Yes, exactly.
We exited first round.
Yeah. and we're all kind of like, okay, we're relieved. You know, it's refreshing. Somebody else is going to win the World Series this year. Seriously. But there's a lot of people that are going to be leaving this Houston Astros team in the next couple of years, this offseason specifically. Yusei Kikuchi, big-time trade acquisition. The GM already came out and said that could not be coming back. Like there's a good chance that he's not going to be coming back. Alex Bregman, longtime Houston Astro, and has shown up in the biggest moments for them year in and year out. Very good chance that he is going to be leaving that team and going somewhere else in free agency. I got an article up here talking about how Houston Astros ace Framber Valdez is being floated as a potential trade piece this offseason. He's only got one more year
He's got
left
one more year
on his contract. Like, there's a lot of players here that are going to be coming up on expiring contracts, and it could be time to, like, have a bit of a change of I guess, personnel. Right.
Well, also Justin Verlander, who they also traded from the Mets, you know, a year ago.
Yeah.
So he is also going to be gone. And then looking at the year after, like you brought up, Valdez is one of them. Jose Urquidy, he's one of them. Kyle Tucker, what are they going to do with him? Are they going to sign him?
That needs to be an extension, man.
You got to extend him.
You have to do that. I'm also genuinely shocked as well, like seeing some of this stuff about Framber Valdez. Like, for me, that's just a guy, like, that's a homegrown ace for you. Ever since he came up, he's been really, really damn good. Like,
I think that's kind of silly. You don't trade that guy because then it's really like, oh, now we're going into a rebuild.
Yeah.
When you still got a lot of pieces, like, sure, Yusei Kikuchi was great for you down the stretch, but, like, I hate to be disrespectful to Yusei Kikuchi, but, like, you could go get a replacement. You know, you can go and get your one replacement there. Alex Bregman obviously is huge. That's a huge part of your identity. That is a
big piece,
right? So, like, that might hurt a little bit. You know, and the bigger thing here, and they bring it up in this article, is they kind of traded away their hopefully replacement of Alex Bregman. Like, they traded away, you know, some depth in their system when they traded for Yusei Kikuchi. Like, Will Wagner was supposed to come up and play some, like, corner ball for them. Obviously, you had Loperfido, but he's not a corner guy at all. But, like, you had guys that were, and then you also traded away Jake Bloss. There was supposed to be those replacements. So it kind of, like, sped up, I guess, their window closing. Also, to kind of finish off right here, the other guys leaving them as well in a year. You got Ryan Presley leaving them in a year. Hector Neris is leaving them in a year. So bullpen pieces too.
Yeah.
So for me, I wouldn't say push the panic button right away if I'm like a Houston Astros GM. Maybe do a couple smart retoolings, but after 2025, yeah, no, it is serious. It's getting a little bit more serious where this could be kind of the end of the window of this Houston Astros dynasty, because everyone else that's coming up other than Yordan Alvarez, like no one is. Jake Myers is pretty good, and I obviously like Jeremy Pena's defense, but no one else is really wowing me to the level of like we've been used to seeing, like a Kyle Tucker, Yordan Alvarez, George Springer in his prime, Carlos Correa. They're good players, but not like that dynasty superstar level.
No, I definitely hear you on that, man. And I mean, like, yes, looking at a lot of these contracts, like it is concerning. And if I'm a Houston Astros fan, I am starting to wonder, well, are the best years behind us? Now, I will say I still really believe in that coaching staff, like what they did with Yusei Kikuchi. Yes, obviously you need to give credit to Yusei Kikuchi, but I think that that's more credit to the pitching staff.
Yeah.
Because Toronto had that guy not even just Toronto. Seattle had that guy for years. Toronto had that guy for years. And all of a sudden he goes over to you and is a completely different guy. And you changed everything about his pitching arsenal.
Right.
That is credit to that pitching coach, to that pitching staff. And I think that you're right. You can find somebody like that on free agency who you like their stuff, and you can kind of mold it in the best possible version of themselves. Right. So I'm not too worried about the pitching. I do think that the Alex Bregman loss is going to be something that's felt, and you're going to need to find a way, whether it be internally or whether it be through some other free agent acquisition or whether you just want to like re-sign the guy. I know that the vibe is probably not going to happen. But that's something that needs to be dealt with. Kyle Tucker needs to stay a Houston Astro.
Yeah, that's why you're not signing Alex Bregman, because you're waiting to pay for that
Probably.
guy.
I think that's exactly what you're thinking, right? So there's just a lot of moving parts right now and a lot of moving pieces, and that's why I think this has started to become a conversation. And, of course, getting swept in the wildcard series, like, it makes people wonder, well, is this finally the window closing? I believe that the Houston Astros are at least going to be competitive again next year.
Yeah.
I think that they're just going to find a way. After that is when I start to go, okay, what is this front office going to do to continue to be a dominant force in the American League?
Yeah, because, I mean, if you think about their front office as well, like they have a new GM. They've had a new GM for the last couple of years, and you can kind of see the difference between the old GM and the new GM. Old GM did a great job scouting and developing. Obviously it's not him doing it, but they had the personnel underneath him. And they had a great job trading and bringing in people. I do think about Justin Verlander and Garrett Cole and Zach Greinke in the time when they were all in their primes. And it was just amazing job building that organization. And then in the last little bit, I don't know how much you want to credit the scouting or development, or the GM in general, but it hasn't been that, again, like I said, that superstar level of impact. I like Hunter Brown, too, as a pitcher. He had a good year this year, a little struggling off the top, but, again, credit that coaching staff. But, yeah, it hasn't felt the same. And then the trade with Kikuchi, yeah, it was good for them during the last bit of the stretch of the regular season, but you never really got to use him. You didn't really get to. I've always said the trade makes sense if you go on and you make a big run and you have a nice chance at the World Series, but they don't do that. So now you're sacrificing a lot of depth there that you don't have too much of. So we'll see what they could do if they can make some smart moves this offseason. They're gonna need it.
Yeah,
they're gonna need
100%, man. I want to transition here and talk about just the most ridiculous thing ever. This is arguably, I think, maybe the biggest bust in like MLB draft history.
Right.
Oftentimes, like they talk about it a lot in football, and I think that you can see the results of that. Like if you pick somebody first overall, for instance, and like they just fucking suck, like that's going to be talked about for years, because that's going to set your franchise back for years.
Yeah.
It's not as big of a conversation in baseball, but this is, I think, one of the most dramatic or just like clear
failures.
Yeah,
failures,
examples of just a terrible
tragedies.
Yeah, exactly. What I'm referring to, everybody, is 20 years ago, 2004, first overall selection, Matt Bush by the San Diego Padres. He's now age 38. He's no longer in MLB, everybody, but he's now back in the media headlines because former Texas Rangers pitcher arrested after allegedly fleeing scene of accident while driving, while intoxicated. He was drunk driving, everybody.
And this is new news for those who are familiar with this story.
Yeah.
This is new. Explain what happened Nick.
Listen to this, man. According to authorities, Bush ran a red light, crashing into the Silverado. He then crashed into 2 more vehicles, both of which were stopped at a light. Bystanders told Arlington police officials that Bush attempted to get out of his vehicle and flee the scene.
Oh my God.
When a group of witnesses caught up with him and detained him. So this guy literally, drove through a red light, crashed into a couple different cars, continued crashing into a couple more different cars, then got out of his vehicle and tried to run, but clearly he's fucking drunk, and a bunch of witnesses were like, "Nah,
they're gonna tackle him.
We're gonna get you down, bro.
Yeah.
Are you kidding me?"
Of course.
And I don't know if you do you have the picture of him, the mugshot right here?
Yeah, I do. Oh my Lord, you're hammered, dude.
Yeah.
You look like me at the wedding last weekend.
Literally, man. Clearly, whether you be drunk or something, you're on something right now. He refused to take a field sobriety test.
That's embarrassing.
Which is,
clearly you're hammered.
Yeah,
we don't need a sobriety test, Matt.
I can look at you and I can see something ain't right right there. Oh, no, I was just really tired. Yeah, okay. If you guys haven't already, look up the photo. It's abundantly clear. But this guy has had so many different instances where this has become a problem, and obviously we're making light of it right now. Luckily nobody was seriously injured, but fuck, dude, it just goes to show somebody with so much potential and really drinking it away. You look at this career, this is not the career of somebody that should have been drafted first overall, right? And a lot of it had to do with the fact that this was a big problem for him. This is not the first time that he's been drunk driving. You'd think after once or twice you would have learned your lesson.
I know.
That's not the case with Matt Bush.
Well, he's an idiot,
Once again, you're going to be doing some jail time. You're going to be paying some fines. Literally. It's just really stupid.
Yeah, and it's wild. I'm looking at his whole career. Obviously, he did it in 2012 when he was, back then. But he didn't make his major league debut till years later.
Oh, yeah.
Years, because, the minor league numbers don't look too bad, but he also was drafted as, an 18-year-old. But, yeah, I'm looking. He didn't make his debut until 2016 after the drunk driving incidents the first time. And then he comes up. He's okay. He comes out of the bullpen. Then he doesn't play for 3 more years. Do you know why? Was he hurt? What happened there?
There was, I can't remember.
I can't remember.
This guy's entire career is just one big roller coaster. But think about that. You get drafted first overall in 2004, and you don't make it to the show
till 2016.
2016.
At 30 years old.
12 years later, right? That's kind of fucky, actually.
There's beyond the numbers and beyond the drunk driving. Obviously, the character has got to be a problem.
Well,
why would I don't want this guy in my clubhouse.
That's the thing.
I'm waiting till he's 30 years old to call him up.
Yes.
I don't want to spend your first round pick. You want to get him up as soon as they're ready.
And
clearly, he was never ready.
Also, as you can see, the guy makes his debut at 30 with Texas. Mm-hmm. Not even the team that drafted him.
No.
So you literally used your first overall pick on this guy. Never saw him in the show. I also want to be very clear. This is that much of a bust because the second overall pick in this draft, Justin Verlander.
Yeah, that's a big bust.
That guy's kind of good at baseball.
Yeah.
Or at least was kind of good at baseball.
Yeah. I guess, see, it's one of those things where it's you got to, I guess you got to really know the character of the individual you're drafting first overall. But obviously, I don't know. He's drunk driving at 18 years old. You don't know that.
Yeah.
You couldn't predict that when you made that first overall pick. But, yeah, Matt Bush, biggest bust ever. Biggest bust in MLB history?
Well, again, I'm sure that there are some other really bad ones, but this is it's hard to do worse than this. You know what I mean?
Yeah,
It's definitely hard to do worse than this, and I imagine if San Diego could go and do this pick again, then this guy is somebody that he would never be on your board.
Wow, then Verlander would be a Padre. Imagine what would happen.
Probably, yeah. I imagine he ended up being the best person out of that.
Yeah.
I don't know for sure,
yeah.
but probably.
Probably.
Yeah.
How many other Hall of Famers were drafted in 2004?
How many people were drafted in 2004 and are still playing? Probably not a whole lot, you know?
Yeah, I don't know. Actually, do I have it right here? No. Yeah, I got it right here. Oh, Billy Butler drafted. No, that's nice. Yeah, no. Trevor Plouffe. He was drafted 20th overall.
Well, sorry,
There
Trevor,
you go.
but I'll be taking Justin Verlander.
I'll take it.
Still over you. I would take you over Matt Bush, though.
Yep,
So
I would.
Yeah,
I would. There you go.
would definitely do that, yeah.
All right. Final notes here, Nick. Anything else you want to mention about these upcoming series for the AL side? We kind of spent a lot of the NL side.
I'm just really interested to see. We're gonna be live, by the way, tonight, everybody, for that New York Yankees and San Diego Padres, Kansas City Royals game, which should be really fun. But I'm actually really interested to see how Detroit bounces back.
Yeah.
They got shit kicked in the first game, and this is kind of the first time in the last month of baseball that somebody really handed it to them.
Oh yeah.
7-0 Cleveland over Detroit. Like, offense was not there, pitching was not there.
Yeah.
This was, I want to see how you respond.
This was a weird one for me. So Tyler Holton is apparently their opener. He went game 2 in the series against the Astros, and they throw him out game 1. Literally, what was it? 2 days later?
Yeah.
Kind of interesting for me. I guess if it's an opener, it doesn't really matter, but that's their strategy. I don't know if they've been rolling with that all year long, but he got destroyed 4 runs right off the bat. And at that point, you're fighting.
You're in the tank, and
then obviously got Tanner Bibee, or I don't even know how to say his name, but he did good. No earned runs, 4 2/3 frame. Then the great bullpen of Emmanuel Clase and friends shut him out. So
that'll do it.
They got some work cut out for them for sure.
Yeah, and I really think Detroit, their key to victory here is you cannot get to that Cleveland Guardians bullpen and be down. You have to attack their starter, and I know that they have really good pitching. This is just what it is.
Yeah.
But if you're up against Clase and friends in the 6th inning or 7th inning, I really do think it's game over.
Yeah.
So yeah, your key to victory is to get offense and to get it early. I want to see you respond. I want to see this series get exciting and get interesting. So we're gonna see what they do in game 2.
Well, they got Skubal on the bump in game 2, the Tigers. So
should be a lot. I will guarantee you that Skubal is not going to be giving up 4 earned runs in inning 1.
Yeah,
I
don't think he's
guarantee
ever
you
done
that. Probably not this year, actually.
No, yeah.
Probably not.
So that's huge for them. And then for the Yankees, obviously, again, we're going live for that tonight up against the Royals. This is the one series that's probably the most predictable in my mind.
You think so? Yeah.
Yeah, because you had the Royals and Orioles series where it was just honestly lackluster baseball.
It was
1-0, 2-1 over. I mean, both teams were struggling. Both pitching staffs were pretty decent, but yeah, I mean, you're going up against the favorite now in the AL. I guess maybe you could say the Tigers, but I would still say the Yankees. Betting odds are the favorites, so I feel like this one's gonna be pretty easy in my opinion. Yankees got to win this one.
I do think that is what's gonna happen there. If I had to put money on any team walking away or moving on to the semifinals, I think it would be the Yankees at this point. But again, we're going live for that game. Royals put up 5 runs. It made it really interesting. It was 6-5 win. They got to Garrett Cole a little bit.
They did.
I mean, who knows, right? It's going to need to be more of that, though. Clearly, you almost did enough and not quite. We'll see if you can finish it today, though.
Let's see. Guys, that's the end of today's Bad for Baseball episode. You guys let us know in the chat. What do you think about this whole Padres and Dodgers series? It's getting pretty interesting. And as well, the Mets and Phillies. And again, over there on the AL, let us know all about those series. And we'll be back again Thursday. Maybe there's a winner of one of these series by then, and we can have something to talk about then. Or there could be some really good Game 4, Game 5 matchups by that point. So it'll be pretty fun to watch, guys.
Should be good, everybody. We'll be live tonight, probably live again later this week. Not entirely sure when, but we'll let you guys know when we know. Thank you so much for watching, everybody. Hit that like, smash the subscribe button, and we will catch you in the next one.
Cheers.